Warning! We're about to dive into topics that can make your grandma faint. This podcast is strictly for adult dames. Listener discretion is advised. The episode begins in 3, 2, 1. Every time I go to say the name of this book, and I almost thought you were going to say it just now, and we are now recording The Emperor's New Groove.
I keep saying The Emperor and the Endless Empire. I'm completely fucking it up. Yes, I know.
All right.
I know.
You know, some people go to church on Sunday mornings.
We get together to discuss a smutty book.
This is our church.
Yeah.
We're going to, this is our church.
This is our church.
Yep. Here's the steeple. Open the doors. Bunch of cocks. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Lusty Library, where, as previously discussed, we drink cocktails and talk about cocks. This speaking right now in these dulcet tones is your host for the day. I'm Birdie, and I'd like to welcome you to my home. Come on in. The water's warm. The weather's fine. Have a seat, relax, have a drink. Listen up a bit. In the room with me, I have two absolutely fabulous dames. We've got our jack of all trades, Joey, and we've got the lovely lobster woman, Lex.
I actually do say lobster man.
Lobsterman. Okay,
Yep.
fine. Lobsterman.
Because,
The
you know, like
lovely lobsterman.
human has man in it, so lobsterman has man in it.
Okay, fine. I mean, and I did actually make note for the record that, and I think it's important for the people to know that Lex's official term on the boat was sternman
Mm-hmm.
because she's that fucking cool. Yes, she worked on a fucking lobster boat. Fun fact for the people. It's really exciting. But sternman does not have the alliterative qualities that I desired for this moment.
That is
So,
fun.
yeah.
Fun.
Mhm, yeah. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, a little bit about us. We choose a romance novel. We talk about it. The only criteria is that we're not aiming for just romance. We want smut too, folks. We're here to talk about cocks, or in the vernacular of today's book, rather, influences. Doesn't have
My
the same ring.
influence.
It sounds so regal. I didn't really even feel like I was reading something that was that naughty with this book because it was very formal. It made me feel like I was reading this historic text. My influence.
But also, like, okay, so smutty literature has been around forever. If it's been written down, it existed. There has always been erotica. And so there are texts back from the time when in this book, you know, the different time periods, there are erotic novels from those times. So
You got it. I know. It is actually really exciting. So today we're talking about not the Emperor's New Groove. We are talking about The Emperor and the Endless Palace, the first book by a new author, Justinian Huang. And I really hope this isn't going to be his last book.
no,
Because
there's no
damn,
way.
damn. Like the fact that he was like, oh yeah, I was working at DreamWorks and then, you know, like COVID hit and I just felt like I was going to write this book. I'm sorry. You had this much in your head and you weren't already a writer? Like maybe he was. I didn't say what he did at DreamWorks during the video that I watched about him, but wow. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on in this brain.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful mind in there. So a brief summary of the book. What if I told you that the feeling we call love is actually the feeling of metaphysical recognition when your soul remembers someone from a previous life? In the year 4 BCE, an ambitious courtier is called upon to seduce the young emperor, but quickly discovers they are both ruled by blood, sex, and intrigue. In 1740, a lonely innkeeper agrees to help a mysterious visitor procure a rare medicine, only to unleash an otherworldly terror instead. And in present-day Los Angeles, a college student meets a beautiful stranger and cannot shake the feeling they've met before. Across these seemingly unrelated timelines woven together only by the twists and turns of fate, two men are reborn, lifetime after lifetime. Within the treacherous walls of an ancient palace and the boundless forests of the Asian wilderness to the heart-pounding cement floors of underground rave scenes, our lovers are inexplicably drawn to each other, constantly tested by the worlds around them. As their many lives intertwine, they begin to realize the power of their undying love, a power that transcends time itself, but one that might continue to consume them both. Whew.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
It was a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, it covers a lot.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked I was able to get through that because I feel like the alcohol's already hitting my brain. So let's talk about why. What are we drinking today, folks? In honor of the frequently mentioned items in this book, tea and peaches. Is a little bit on the nose, but it's kind of funny. So we're drinking some spiked peach sweet tea here, folks. And I just want to throw it out there that the vodka that we're drinking is Supergay vodka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's perfect. It's so good. A percentage of the profit goes to LGBTQI+ organizations.
Oh, that is awesome.
Uh-huh.
The bottle is amazing too.
The bottle's so cute.
Google it, listeners. You have to see this bottle.
I know.
And
I brought
it's
it in just
tasty.
Yeah. It also helps that I did infuse it with black tea for this drink, which is just, it's so good. That's what we're drinking.
Thanks, Birdie.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's pretty delicious, if I do say so myself.
Okay, you guys talk. I'm just going to be over here.
Drinking.
Wait, where did my glass go?
I cleaned it up for you. It's all set.
Okay. We haven't talked about this yet, but I just want to throw it out there. So we normally don't try to spoil things in our book that we talk about, but I think for this one, we're going to talk about everything. So if you haven't read this book yet, turn around, go read the book. You don't have to wait till the ratings. We loved it. Just go listen to the book, read the book, whatever, and then come back here. We're going to spoil the shit out of this thing. Also, fair warning is that we three sitting here are not of Asian descent. We have done our best to try desperately to learn how to say these names appropriately for the characters in the book, but I cannot promise that we're going to do it quite as much justice as someone who has grown up speaking the Chinese language. We are really trying to do the beautiful names justice. A little bit about why we're talking about this book today. So I was on Instagram one day scrolling around and Justinian popped up in my feed. I don't know why. I mean, the algorithm, I guess, knows what I want to see. Thanks so much, algorithm. So I saw Justinian. He was talking about this new book release. It sounded really cute. He seemed really adorable. And I was like, great. I read the first sentence of the synopsis because if you're tracking all of the episodes so far, you know I don't read the summaries. But I did read the first sentence and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Full transparency. I am a cis female identifying person. And I was a little nervous about reading a gay male book.
Really?
I was, well, not that I was nervous like about reading it, but I was just like, what, am I going to find it hot? I don't know. Yeah. It's
good.
It's still hot.
Yeah,
Guess
still
what?
hot.
It's still hot.
Not a
And,
problem.
I mean, I'm the noob here, like with all of this. So I really was just like, I don't know if I'm going to find it hot, but like, I like gay culture. You know, I have plenty of gay friends. So I was just like, oh, you know, I don't have a problem reading the book, but I was just like, I wonder if I'm going to find this hot or not. Like, I don't really go for like gay male porn. So why would I go for this? No, this is very hot. Lots of very hot moments.
I was
As
going
it
to say, so
turns
full
out.
disclosure, I love gay male porn.
Nice.
Male gay porn.
Yes.
You know, all the way from my youngin' days of reading lots of yaoi. And then just as I got older, it's in my wheelhouse. So.
And I guess thinking back, I'm just like, I mean, Brokeback Mountain, that moment when he just sticks his finger in his mouth and goes, whoop, and he slips it back there. And we're all like, is it hot in here?
It is.
You know, I
Because
don't
if
know.
something's sexy, it's just sexy.
It's
I
sexy.
know.
It's sexy.
I don't know
Absolutely.
why I was thinking like, maybe I won't find this hot. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
So that I really love this book then that it broke you out of that thought that you wouldn't find it sexy.
Oh,
So
yeah.
kudos, another 5-star just
Yeah.
for that intent and purpose.
So, Joey, you've read 765,000 smutty novels. How many of them are gay male?
This would be my 3rd.
Okay. I just was intrigued to know your ratio.
I am generally drawn to male, female, but there are a lot of times that some of the supporting characters within other books in the series do get together. And I'm not turned away by it at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we normally get into the smut a little bit later, but I feel like because it was so prominently like spicy and it was the thing that I was kind of just the most nervous about, it feels like we need to have a sexy stud reading smutty stuff right now.
Ooh, we're going so early?
We're going in fast and deep.
We know Birdie likes to just get to it.
Yeah. Much like what our sexy stud is about to read, we like to go in fast.
"Keep your eyes open," Joey whispered, and I did. He lay on his back, and then in one magnificent motion, he pushed into me fully and firmly. I took a jagged breath as I received him. Joey moaned, trembling as I angled my body so I could take him in even deeper. His arms swollen with the effort, Joey held me around the waist and guided me up and down, and the initial pain quickly radiated into a searing ecstasy. I gasped loudly as he ran his hands all over my chest and stomach, the friction driving me wild. "Joey." His pace quickened as he went in and out of me, and the ecstasies multiplied like psychedelic fractals. "Please don't stop. I won't."
That's pretty
Yeah,
hot.
see?
It's pretty hot.
Pretty
It's
hot.
pretty hot. Had my mind blown, had my butthole blown. Because I've never read about gay male sex, I was like very interested to see like how much foreplay. Yo, he does not let these boys warm up at all. They do not warm up at all. There is no like implements that are helping with the warm-ups. There's none of that. I don't know about you two, but most of the time when I go back sometimes to read through, I always highlight all the spicy parts in red. In, you have like 5 colors that you can choose from in Kindle Library. And so when I'm going through all of my reds, I'm like, oh, okay, cocks. Yep. Thrusting. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Yeah. No, this one has like the most ratio of the word cock and like dirty words. Great. Okay. That's the one I'll choose. But when I was going through for this book, I was rereading them and I got to this scene and my face was flushed. I was like, whoa, okay.
This is the winner.
This is the one. I was like, wow, it's hot in here. This was it. I don't know. Did either of you have different scenes?
I really thought you would have picked the one with the Emperor.
I will tell you
Emperor
why.
and Dongshin.
It's a little bit. Should we just get into that? I mean, I don't know. Lex, what would you have picked before we go down this rabbit hole? There's so many rabbit holes we could go down this book.
I don't know what it says about me, but my hot one was, I'm trying to remember the general's name.
Oh,
Jujon?
yeah.
Jujon, when he...
him and Dongshin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of choke in there. Yeah. No, I hear that.
And
it was kind of
play and...
So
I got issues. It's fine.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I just like what I like.
Yeah, you like what you like. I think we all kind of, that was a good scene.
Oh, yeah. All the sex scenes I thought were very well crafted.
Yeah. So here's why I didn't choose that one. And this is actually my big bone to pick with this book in general that I was really intrigued to talk to you both about and to see if you felt the same way.
Okay.
So I didn't choose the scene with Dongshin and the Emperor because I, in the end, felt betrayed by Dongshin. And it ruined the romance of that scene. It ruined it. I understand why, Justinian talks about like the morally questionable characters. I felt betrayed by him. When he went and fucked Commander Junjun, I'm not saying his name correctly, but when he went and fucked the commander, I was like, it was like a punch in the gut. I was like, how could you do that to your one true love? Is it really your true love?
How much choice do you think he actually had on that? It's dubious consent.
And I think where he initially had said no to him, the commander was being very aggressive with him.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't call it rape.
No, because it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't.
He
ultimately
consented.
Consented
Yeah.
at the end.
And therefore, I was truly hurt.
But let me ask you, as you were reading about Dong Shen's character, this scene happened towards the end of the book. So you had gotten a good chunk of Dong Shen's personality.
I did get a good chunk of dong.
And seeing the things he had done because he was trying to move up in the Endless Palace, right? He was a courtier.
Yeah, he was just climbing cocks.
Right.
All the way to the top.
So did you really think at the end he was going to do right?
I've climbed a lot of cocks in my life, and I'm not going to cheat on my husband. There's a big difference between skanking it up when you feel like it, or maybe when you feel like you have to. I don't know. Like, I guess it was different. Like,
But
he
you're
was
not-
climbing ranks.
Not only that, you're not in a social situation where you have to make allies to literally be able to survive.
Sure, but
Like you don't have
you're
the same kind of
fucking-
politics going on.
you're fucking the emperor. How much further can you go? Why?
How much power do you actually think the emperor has as opposed to the person who commands the armies?
God damn it. That's so true.
He was playing both sides the entire time. He was
It's
aligning
true.
with the emperor, getting in the emperor's pants, and then making sure his grandmother, the Empress Dowager Fu, was being kept happy.
I mean, okay, yes, but this is getting back to my whole thing where it's like, just when you've thought that you're on this romance train and you're fully invested in the romance of it,
The soulmate romance of it.
yes, you are cheated on, you are betrayed.
I see your true
Oh, good Lord.
His true colors came out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but so that's the whole point is
Yeah.
that like I was so hurt by that. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I obviously could not choose that scene
Interesting.
because it was no longer hot to me.
But I love that you were emotionally vested.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, it was a little bit tricky because once I found out about that, it backwards ruined everything. Everything in hindsight was destroyed.
No, I just
Maybe
took a deep
I'm-
breath in because I'm like, okay, so that tells me how you just feel about romance. Like if your partner was to cheat on you, that would ruin all your days previous.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not in the wide shoes realm. I'm not. I am consistent. Are we noticing a theme here?
Yeah, no, it's cool.
But yeah, it ruined the romance for me.
See, it did the opposite for me. It made it more real. It's messy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny coming from somebody who has been with their partner for so many years in a monogamous relationship, but still, like, I see the outside world and I go, okay, it is more realistic that even when you have found the person that you deeply connect with, there's all these messy things along the way.
So just because you found your soulmate, you still have the ability to make choices in your life, correct?
Yeah.
Right? Just because your
Mhm.
heart pulls to that one person, he made a choice. And the choice was basically what he had been doing the entire time. I did feel bad for the emperor, though. I think at the end of
Yeah.
all this,
Yeah.
that he had finally come into power, found someone he loved, and that person just betrayed him.
Do we want to talk real quick for our listeners about the 3 timelines going on?
Yeah. I know that you both have your own written out versions of this. I would have preferred to read this book 3 fucking times before this podcast, honestly. Like, there's so many details. I read it like 1 1/4. I am not convinced that my matrix is correct. I have a 3x3 matrix. The 3 rows represent the 3 eras that we are
Yes.
reading
Yeah.
about. So there's 3 timelines. There's 4 BCE, 1740, and present day. And then I started with 3 columns and then I started thinking, should there be more? But then I was like, no, because there are 2 main characters. There's the emperor
Mhm.
and there's the lover. But then I was like, wait, there's a side piece?
There's the side piece.
But then is there
develops.
something else too? Is there a side piece in every timeline? And if there is that person also a like cosmically related side piece, or is it just
Yes.
happen to be?
I think that all three of them are actually intertwined.
Okay, so
There's actually 3 main characters in each one of these timelines.
great.
And then ORBC and 1740, there is an antagonist that travels along with them for a little bit.
I was talking with Lex. I wonder if that antagonist, the 4th questionable person, may have been one of the characters in present day.
So let's go through the characters.
well, so I'm sorry, hold on. You were talking, were we did?
No,
we were setting up
No, just because. So let me explain to you what my process was. I've read this book 2.25 times.
Yeah.
The first time I sat down for it, I realized I needed a lot more brain space than I was willing to dedicate. Because for those of you that have not read the book and are deciding to listen to this, every chapter was one time frame. And they continued to go one after the other. So we started at 1740, then went to 4 BCE, and then went into present day. And each chapter sequentially went in that order until we got towards the end of the book. About 30 minutes listening in, I said, I am completely lost. I'm putting this down. When I have better brain capacity, I'll do it. I went back, I listened to it start to finish, and I was still like, wow, my mind was blown. So I went back and listened fully a second time, taking my notes, and I found so many threads within this book that all tied into it that I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. Why didn't I hear that the first time? Oh, geez, this is there. That's there. Oh my God. Where is it in present day? That I started looking for it
Right.
as we got into present day. Fuck. So I had the whole matrix chart like you did, just going through all the relationships, who everybody was.
Okay.
And I threw it away and had to start all over again in the middle of the book.
So if you want to see our matrices, please go to our website and check them out, folks.
I wrote one out and then got 3/4 through the book and then crossed it out and redrew. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no, I fucked that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the Emperor. Let's go from oldest timeline to newest. So the Emperor in 4 BCE is Liu Shan.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1740, we have Huang Zhulang.
Yep.
And then in present day, dun dun dun, which this was actually a pretty big reveal. We
Spoilers.
are just assuming that you have all read this or that you don't give a shit about spoilers. But wow, it's River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And if you listen to the book a second time or read the book a second time, there's so many little breadcrumbs that lead you to know that River wasn't about the eyes, the color of his eyes, and all these other little things that you're like, oh, you're actually the Emperor.
Shit.
But when you're reading it and you're going through the path, because present day, you're thinking Joey is the Emperor.
Yeah.
Right.
The first
Because
time.
you would think Joey's the Emperor because he has this like swagger and this like power in that timeline that he sort of feels like an emperor.
And he's a celebrity in his own right because
Right.
established artist. And he's got Winston, who is his man.
But I think you're also listening to the voice in each of the chapters, right? So for BCE, that timeline, the voice that is telling the story
Right.
is Don Shen. In 1740, it's Hishan. When you're hearing the voice in present day, it's River.
Mhm.
So you're assuming that it is the same person through those 3 times.
Exactly. Fucker. He fucking did that.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
but
knew what he was doing.
he has a moment in the story where they switch power.
Yeah.
I
It gives
literally had to
Yeah.
stop the book and go back and redirect everything in my head.
Yeah.
And I was in
Mhm.
my kitchen listening to this at that moment where Joey says to him, there's a pause, and he's like, you're the Emperor. And I went, fuck.
Yeah.
Put the thing on pause and adjusted everything that was happening in my brain. And I'm like, oh, it completely changed the book for me after that point.
I really loved it because I feel like in the 4 BCE timeline,
Mm-hmm.
the representation of Liu Shen is very much more aligned with River's personality, I feel. The way that I read Liu Shen is very much more like River. They're very innocent, very like looking out at the world with a little bit more. Yeah, innocence is really like the big takeaway there.
Trying to live up to the standards of the family, what's
Right.
expected, whether
Right.
or not that's their passion.
And then think about Joey and Dongxian. They just align. It is that same voice throughout. That makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. I did think that Huang Jilang in the 1740 timeline felt very different to be the emperor character because, I mean, that representation is so strongly fox spirit. And it feels very like negative. It felt very like conniving and secretive, and there was no innocence with that character. So it was interesting to me to realize in the end when I really sat down to think about it more, like, wait, that was the emperor. That one didn't align to me. They didn't have as similar like personalities throughout the timelines. But maybe I like that because they are going to be different people. It's just about this cosmic like reincarnation theme.
But I want you to think about something. So if you remember reading the last chapter, after what happens at 4 BCE, the emperor dies and he's given a choice and he decides he wants revenge. So that now brings you to 1740, where Zhulang is the emperor and he is the spirit fox, and he is meeting with Dongxian's, reincarnate.
Right.
And he, in a way, is dominant in giving revenge.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
There's a lot of interweaving parts with them.
We're not cutting this out because that was really helpful.
Good.
Yeah. There's so much detail.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail.
So much. So then we've got the sign pieces through the ages. We've got the commander in 4 BCE. In 1740, we've got Dr. Qi Yuang. And present day, we've got Calvin.
No.
Right? Or
Winston.
no? Is it Winston?
It's Winston Chow.
It's Winston? See, that was my question.
Because Winston and Joey are together.
And he's dominating, and he doesn't want him to be with River.
Oh, Joey is always the one that has been swayed. So Joey starts as Hishan, meeting and being with Dr. Qi. And then when he's Dongxian, Commander Zhuzhan. And then in present day, when he's Joey, it's Winston Chow.
Fuck. Yeah, you're right. You know what really confused me is because we hear so much about Calvin.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that it was Calvin, but that doesn't make any sense.
So Calvin was just a point in present day that happened to happen.
Yeah.
That helped River figure out where he was going in present day life.
And I really loved River and Calvin.
I know, right?
I loved them.
Yeah.
To me, that was the romance that I wanted to see more of. And it makes so much sense why we didn't see it more, because you had to have everything. But I loved River and Calvin.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, oh my God, the thought of doing all these drugs is making me sick. Who the fuck is this guy? He needs to go away because I need him to stop feeding my boy drugs because I cannot read about another drug psycho experience because it's making me feel sick.
Right.
But that wasn't the deal with Calvin. Like, in the end, he knew how to have a good time, but he was so thoughtful and considerate and sweet. He flew around the goddamn world with him.
Yep.
And he knew that if he had to, he was going to have to let him go.
Yeah.
But he still went.
Mm-hmm. Gave him a wonderful time. And I mean, I don't mean like sexy time. I mean, just wonderful vacation time together with their group of guys. And I love the description of them running around with the water guns.
Oh, that was so
awesome.
cute. I actually haven't gone and read about that celebration, but is that a real celebration? Do either of you look that up in Thailand?
In Thailand, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have
I
to
didn't look either.
We'll have to look it up. But yeah, it did sound very, very cute and fun. And I could just imagine, like, if you're feeling bummed, of course you're going to feel better. You go squirting people with a squirt gun randomly. That sounds so fun. So who was your favorite character then? Lex?
Oh,
No?
This is like ordering dinner at the restaurant. You guys go ahead first. Come back to me when you're all set.
So my heartstrings were with Calvin. I really don't think I liked him in the beginning. And then as I started highlighting paragraphs within the book, I started dubbing them I Heart Calvins. I think he was one of the most real, but I think Joey's character throughout all three timelines was my favorite.
All right. Okay. Lex, have you made your decision about what you'd like to order?
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, I'm also in the Joey camp.
Really?
Yeah, just because he's a mess.
Yeah.
I don't want messy characters in my life, but that's why I like to
Sure.
read about them.
All right. Yeah.
And this is going to sound like a cop-out, but like you kind of have to take them as a unit because neither one is a fully fledged human without
No.
the other.
No.
True.
And I think just he keeps making the same mistake over and over again.
Mhm.
And then just when you hear them in present day, Joey and River, Joey's like, I made a promise. I'm going to fix this. So I think in a sense, he realizes that he does love who River was through the three timelines where they've met each other, but that he
Stop
can't
hurting him.
Stop hurting him.
Yeah, it's true. Oh,
How about you?
I really loved reading about Calvin. I would get so excited every time Calvin would come in, every time Calvin was there. When Calvin went away, I was really sad. I thought Calvin was gone forever. Once I started liking Calvin, and then they were like, oh no, Calvin's going away. Like, we're not talking to Calvin anymore. I was like, God fucking damn it. No, I really liked Calvin. Like, hold on. I liked the banter between Calvin and River's sister, Garden, which
yeah.
also cool name. It was great banter. Calvin was a banter supreme. So I was like chuckling through all the moments that Calvin was present. So
Yes.
I very much enjoyed Calvin.
But you knew he was coming back because he had his phone and wallet.
Well, yes, that's
and I was
true.
very happy to
Yes.
see that he didn't turn out to be just somebody who was seducing people on an app, having sex with them, then taking him to a rave,
Oh, yeah.
stealing their wallet.
But
and-
that's where I thought it was initially going when
Right.
Calvin was introduced into. I'm like, guy's never going to see his wallet again.
Uh-huh.
Nah.
I
Yeah.
totally was thinking that. And then he showed up.
I did think, even though the romance was destroyed for me in the end, one of the most romantic parts was when Liu Shun cut off the sleeve of his robe because Dongshan was sleeping on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
He cut the sleeve off of his perfect, brilliant blue dragon embroidered robe. Oh!
Mhm.
As a crafter and someone who understands the amount of effort that it must have taken to grow every single fiber of that silk back then,
And dye it and weave it and embroider. And
embroider. Oh my God. And then not to mention embroider all 750 different colors that were probably in that thing. And then, oh
Mhm.
my God. And then to fucking fix it again. I was just sitting there going, oh my God, but did he cut right through the middle of a dragon? Because that's going to be really hard to fix.
Of course you thought of that.
Yeah. Oh, but it was such a sweet moment. And that was the moment that I was just like knife in the gut thinking about that when I'm like, no.
Where were you when Dongshan was pulling all of his fucking shenanigans all throughout the palace?
Yeah.
I know, but I just thought that he had found the one and he was going to settle down.
You were
But
fooling the shit
That
out of
is,
yourself.
but because that is my natural
First
state
of all,
brain.
he lied to Lucien saying, oh, I fell off a horse.
Yeah.
True.
I broke both of my legs. That's how I learned all 300 of the songs. I mean, he started the relationship in a fucked up note right off the bat.
Okay, fine.
Lie number one.
Yeah, it's
The
true.
writing was on the wall.
Yeah, it's true. I'm just so innocent.
You really
I'm
are.
such a sweet little baby.
You're adorable. I do love, though, just how detailed each of these timelines are, and you really get how separate these worlds are. Little windows into, like, okay, here's 4 BC in China. Like, I have no experience with that. Even watching, like, the Asian cinema I've watched, I haven't seen anything from that time period. So,
Mhm.
super cool. And I think it's funny that, like, the rave in LA was just as foreign to me.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm like, I've been to some parties, but dang, okay, that's serious. Of course I wouldn't be invited to that. And that's fine. And that's okay. And thank you for the view in, because it was otherworldly.
Yeah, it really was. That is so true that like you think, oh, phew, now we're in present day, a world that I understand. Nope.
No, nothing we've ever been exposed to.
Yeah, just kidding. That is so true. I hadn't thought about that. You are kept typically, I guess, for this kind of reader here, seated in these chairs, you are going to always be in a world that you don't know about. Yeah. So
thanks, Sharon, and letting us take a look in. You know?
I did enjoy the way that it was written, even with the page design, like the typographic layout of the book was very helpful for like the psychedelic trips. I don't know what you got in the audiobook version, Joey, but the layout of the psychedelic trips was like indented and it was in like an italic and it was written almost like a poem on the page.
Yeah. Because for my second read, I use the Kindle version while I'm listening to the audiobook. So I can go ahead and highlight.
You are legit.
Especially with this book. So Justinian, you made me fucking think. Throughout this 360 pages that you crafted, I had to figure out how to do my notes. I had all the different timelines on each page. And then the second read, I became like a conspiracy theorist. I'm like trying to connect dots that may or may not have been there. And as we were just having this conversation, I think I created a new like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So completely fucked up was the Empress Dowager Fu. Had fucking silver teeth.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, super cool.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But Julong's grandmother, open her mouth, had silver teeth. So then I'm trying to relate. I'm like, well, if this person was in 2 timelines, how was she in present day? The light bulb just went off. She's guarded with the silver leg, her prosthetic leg.
Oh, fuck.
Justinian, if I'm right, please give me a thumbs up on that because I'm trying to figure it out.
See, and I didn't think she reincarnated because of the spell they did. And
that she was killed by the bolus?
Yeah, that she was contained or killed.
But I'm just trying to figure out. Everybody in this book has an intent and a purpose, right?
Yeah.
There's no willy-nilly character in there.
True.
All the way down from the blue horse.
And the cat, yeah.
Have a thread in there. So how does Garden play into this?
See, I hadn't made that connection because Garden seemed so positive. She didn't have like a tinge of negativity or like conniving, meddling ways.
But she was very needy. I'm worried about you. You shouldn't be doing this. Why are you doing that? Kind of what the Empress was dictating what he did with his life. So
interesting.
She's got to be there some way, somehow. This is what happens. Like, I got to stop watching this true crime shit because now I'm trying to pull it into a freaking book.
No, that's interesting though. So one thing that I really enjoyed about this book that has been a total 180 shift, I think, for us so far, at least with the books that we're reading for this podcast, which is, my entire experience with this whole genre, except for when I tried to read 50 Shades of Grey a million years ago and only read 5 pages. So this book is written with a style. This author has a style of writing, very prominent, very interesting, and the writing style put you in the place. Like the way that this read, even in present day, made me feel like I was reading an ancient Chinese text. I feel like the language put me in the place. And he capitalizes the R in remembered. Like, okay, Joey remembers his previous lives, but he like remembers them. Like he had capital R. Very interesting. They're talking about the truth between them, the influence, and even with like the modern day sex scene, like it's very classy, the way that it's written. But one thing that is a theme in the book is this poetry. In the early era, the 4 BCE era, there are a lot of moments where Dongshan is reading poems to the emperor.
Reciting.
Sorry.
That's like
yes.
a big deal.
Crucial. How dare I?
Sorry.
Right. No, it's very important. He is not reading them. He is reciting them from memory. And apparently there are 300 that he has memorized. We took it upon ourselves here to look up said poems. And guess what? Justinian, in fact, is the writer of these poems.
That is so epic. Because I totally thought that they had been previously written and he just done some research and slotted them into the story because he'd done so much research about other pieces of ancient Chinese culture. And
so mind-blowing. They were so interesting. They were so well written. Yeah, I thought for sure, like, took it for granted that, like, just assumed that he had popped in some fucking Confucius in there. Wow.
I think he's patting himself on the back right now.
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to this.
He
He's
really
like,
should.
yeah, gotcha.
He really should.
Gotcha.
The poetry really was like the chef's kiss of the whole thing, I think.
Yeah.
That makes it like it firmly plants your feet in that world.
Devil's in the details.
Yeah. And of course, he must have giggled so much when he's like writing about peaches, putting in all the peaches in there. But I was just like, oh, I guess they talked a lot about peaches back then. They could have.
Yeah.
They could have easily. I believed it. Great job. Great job, Justinian. So one of the prevailing themes of this whole book, soulmates.
Soulmates. Totally.
Do we believe in them?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Interesting.
100%.
Yeah. That was a really fast answer.
Yeah, because I believe in it.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I believe in past lives. I believe in soulmates. Like, yeah, totally.
Past lives. I want to come back to that.
Oh, yeah. But that's why I think it pulled at the heartstrings that it says when he had said something to the effect of that feeling of love that you get is just a remembrance of someone that you had connected with and cared for other previous time frames. I was like, take my breath away.
Yes. I mean, that was the whole reason that I was like, yeah, we should read this book.
Yeah.
Because that concept to me is so beautiful and romantic and I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in soulmates.
What? Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
No. It makes me feel stifled or like that I should question the person that I'm with. Because like, wait, there's only one? I'm like, okay, yes, sure.
But I don't believe that there's only one.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I also don't believe it in just a romantic kind of way. On a higher level, like I just believe that there are souls out there that you have been with in multiple lifetimes because you get along really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see certain people and you're instantly like, I mean, kind of like the folks in this room. When I met you folks, I was like, I instantly want you. You are my people. And I'm not like that with everybody. You know,
that is true.
When I met my partner, I knew instantly I wanted him in my life. I didn't know if he was going to be my partner because when I met him, I actually thought he was gay. And at the same time, it did not matter to me because I just instantly, that person, I needed them in my life.
Yeah.
You just have an instant connection. Yeah. It's not just a romantic thing. It's about just a relationship. That you're like, I know this person. I understand this person. We have such a compatibility, but we're not the same person. We're different people, but the way we click together.
Mm-hmm. This book made me feel like it was like the one person. And I was like, oh, I hate that concept.
Yeah,
so
but
much.
see, actually, I take the book as all three of them are bound.
Yes, but the way that he talks about the emperor and the lover, I guess we're calling it like the truth that is between them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's kind of getting at with this, like, do you feel the truth, that true feeling between us? That's what he's kind of talking about when I feel like he's talking about this soulmate feeling. We're expanding on that. And saying that, yes, all of these souls are destined to find each other, but we're still talking about 1, 2, 3, finding 1, 2, 3, finding 1, 2, 3, which is still stressing me the fuck out.
Okay.
Well, Joey, didn't you have one more thing that you were thinking about?
I was wondering if you were transported into the book and you got to live the life of one of the many characters that you had read about. Like, who would you be?
Are you ready to really shake it up now?
Yeah, do it.
The person that I hated the most?
Uh-huh.
Dong Xian.
Oh, I can so see you living Dong Xian's life.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
I know, after all that.
I know.
After all that you are mad at him.
I know.
Because you're someone that's very driven, and Dongxin was driven to
Right.
move up that ladder.
And to quote the child from whatever viral YouTube video from 15 years ago, feels good to do bad stuff.
That's really good, though.
Because I'm not going to be him now. But maybe if I was going to get thrown into this in some other way, that could be funny to experience that, feels good to do bad stuff situation.
Lex, how about you? Who would you be?
Of course, I need a qualifying question. So am I thrown in and trapped, or can I bop in and bop back out?
You have to live whatever life was pathed within the book.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm going with the commander, Dr. Winston, because if I'm going to be miserable and not get my love anyway, I'm going to do it from a position of power.
Oh.
How did I fucking know you were going to say that?
Yeah.
Power side piece. So what about you, Joey?
Oh my God, Calvin. All the way. I want to live a life of Calvin. So I just have to read you one of my favorite situations that happened. And this was, they had gone to the gala. The whole place had blown up. Calvin is outside with River, and they're just having a real heart-to-heart conversation. Calvin is about to leave, and he divulges to River that he had been previously in a relationship, and he had told River that he was engaged and it didn't go through. Well, because the guy died.
Yeah.
So this is one of the statements that Calvin had made to River. He says, he was murdered. It's a long story for another day, but he was also drawn to dangerous things. There was someone else he loved. Damn, I replied quietly. And who was that someone else? Calvin looks at me with a small smile. We all have that someone else. He has many faces. A dangerous love that pulls us to the brink, that slips us over the edge. All we can do is try to save each other from him, or from being him.
That's just the whole book right there.
Yeah.
I think as flighty as Calvin was, he was a voice of reason
Yeah.
from the things he had been through. So I'd like to be Calvin.
Yeah. But so that statement, though, that was a really powerful statement. And it did make me go, wait, hold on. Is there other stuff that I have to find now about Calvin? Like, hold on. Wait, who was this guy? Is this guy connected to Ver's bizarre cosmic timeline? Wait,
I couldn't pull his threads into any other timeline.
Okay.
I just think he happened to be a guy that River found on Grindr and happened to change the historic outcome within present day.
Yeah. Okay. I see you as a Calvin. That's fun.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm really wondering if any of our listeners were finding some of the threads that I'm curiouser and curiouser of the things that you found in the book from each of the 3 timelines that kind of pulled it together. I'm going to bring one more up. A blue animal. Did anybody catch that within the 3 timelines?
I caught the 2.
I didn't catch it in present day. So in
Ah.
BC, you've got the cat. At the end, you've got the horse.
Mhm.
So
when River goes to the party, he ends up finding the palace. He sees a blue butterfly.
that's
in a tree that leads him. I really enjoyed all those little kernels because they were just dropped in there for you to go, oh, it always leads you back to him. It was pretty great. I really did enjoy finding those. So listeners, if you found any ones that I didn't list, please let me know.
Yeah.
I want to know what I missed.
Yeah. Oh, that's
throw it in
really
our
clever.
socials.
Yeah, I missed that. That's so clever. Oh, really great. Well, should we shake it up and talk about something fun?
Like what?
Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's time for
Dishing
with
with
the Dames. What do we got, Lex?
Well, I cheated. I looked through our list of questions. I didn't pull from the bowl. I know.
No.
We said yes to all these things.
It's fine.
So, in the book, We saw lots of different saucy things. And part of this was there might have been other implements used during some of the sauciness. So that made me come to our question that's on the list. Do you own or have you owned any sex toys?
How many? You know?
Excellent. Yep.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
Gone through so many. I feel like the quality of them, like in the last decade, has gone up so vastly
Oh, yeah.
that now you don't have to buy so many because they actually last longer, because real designers and real engineers are making them with higher quality materials
Yep.
in better manufacturing situations because things aren't frowned upon, and Amazon private shipments are a thing, and the popularity is there. There's so many wonderful implements.
Well, I was going to say also we've got the Amazon privacy is a great thing, but also so many boutique places
Yes.
that you can go that are not a part of, back in the day, the dirty video shops.
Right.
You'd have to go to something like that
Yeah.
to go and find, just be able to see them instead of looking in a catalog.
Right. Or in Providence, you can just drive right by on the street because there's no closed window law in
Mhm.
Rhode Island,
Oh.
which is why Providence always had a very saucy history between,
Yeah.
we do full nude.
Yep.
They do
abbreviated touching.
They do full nude. Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Sister. If you've never been in Providence, Mr. Sister is such a wonderful, wholesome store. And they really take advantage of the fact that they have open window displays.
Awesome.
And they do really fun, super cute displays, all of their gadgets and gadgets.
Oh,
It's
wow.
it's wonderful.
Well, I'm just going to have to do drive-by
Yeah.
then, aren't I?
You're like, and what's the address for that again? Yeah.
She's Googling it right now.
Google
Yeah,
Maps.
yeah. But okay, so what do you get now? You want to know about the best one?
Sure.
Best one? Favorite one?
Aren't they the same thing?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you want to share, so go.
Okay, best one. There is an implement called the Wii Vibe. Anybody heard?
Yes. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I never heard of that one. What is it? Just kidding.
All I can say is a resounding fuck yeah
Yeah.
for that one. Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
A friend of mine used
Yeah.
to run Athena parties.
Mm.
And so.
What's that?
Really?
Even really?
Okay.
I know.
It used to be Tupperware parties. Now you got sex toy parties. And
Oh, cute.
And it's great because it was women run, and I'd host one like twice a year to help her out, which it was still fun because I get to see all the new stuff coming out, earn points.
Oh, yes.
Amazing.
So it was a fantastic time.
It's great.
My collection was vast
Yeah.
and fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know, have you guys looked into the Love Sense things at all?
I don't know what that is.
Go Google it.
Mm,
Love
I'm gonna have to
sense.
Google
Love
that.
sense.
Noted. Googling it.
Also, you can do remote things with phones now that
Uh-huh.
you didn't used to be able to do.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. App controlled vibration.
Secretly shared with other people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's fun.
For those traveling on the road and their partners far away. Yes.
That's fun. Very cute. Very charming.
I am a firm believer of you have more than one kitchen utensil in your cabinet.
Mhm.
Right.
Because if you're frying an egg, you're not going to do it in a saucepan.
Totally. Totally.
So do I have a favorite? No, it depends what mood and the situation.
Yeah.
I will tell you the thrusting vibrators have actually evolved really well. I can't say there's a best. I love them all equally. Yep.
But it's one of those things where, like, I totally believe everybody should at least try some just for the heck of it, because it's about you learning about you. Because how the hell can you
Mhm.
actually have fun with somebody else if you don't know what you like?
That's true.
But there is no problem using them in conjunction with
not at
your
all.
partner.
Not
at all.
It could be fun for all.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
the whole point, maybe, of a lot of them.
Mhm.
That's for sure. Let me tell you, when you get a kid, you then need to lock that drawer. Because there has been a moment where he's just like, Mama, and we're like, oh, fuck. We didn't lock the fucking drawer. You're like, well, he won't remember that.
No. Good.
He's still young. Yeah, good stuff. Are we ready to rate this thing?
Oh, yeah.
All right. I think we should just start with smut. Looking over at you, Lex.
Of course you are.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a 4. Lots of solid smut. I think we touched on this just a little bit earlier in the podcast of how in each time frame, the smut is written in a way that reflects the time frame.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny to be getting hot and bothered about it being put in a very old-fashioned way. And it's like, oh, my goodness, where are my smelling salts,
Yeah.
And even though the sex is between men, it's still so hot to me.
Mm-hmm.
I still picture myself in those positions.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. What would have made you give it a 5? What more did it need?
More.
Just more.
Just
more. Yeah. There was a couple of scenes where I was just like, oh, you're gonna end it now.
Yeah, just a little more, a little further.
Oh. I did really enjoy the recurring theme of he parted my robes at the waist.
Mm.
I feel like we heard that phrase a couple of times and I was like, ooh, he not wearing anything under that robe.
Nope.
Maybe I'm just dirty enough that I wanted a little more detail in Thailand.
Yeah.
The big, massive parties. That probably would have screwed me over for smuttiness to a 5.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I have to agree with Lex. I'm at a 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really hot. It needed a little bit more sexual tension for me to really bring it up to a 5. I think that's what the notch would have been. But it was just enough. It was perfect within the book. It really was just a connection. Well written.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was thoroughly enjoyable. I'm going to 4 all the way.
Yeah. I'm actually super aligned with both of you. The thing that inherently by the nature of this story made it difficult to hit a 5 in smut or jumping a little bit forward again for romance for me is because we were torn between 3 different voices and 6 different people. So it's hard because I don't want to lower my rating because of that. But it makes it hard to be completely wholeheartedly invested when now he's like, and look this way now,
Mm.
It is the same story, yes, but they are 3 different stories still within the story. So it's hard to stay completely focused and be like, hell yeah, hot smut getting the anticipation could build over chapters in theory with just one couple storyline, but because it gets broken up, it's hard to have that build.
Mm.
So that's the hard part for me. I think I might have a surprising lineup of ratings here for you folks.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I've said here, just for the record, 4 for smut. Let's go for romance next. I'm going to go to you first, Joey, because I went for Lex first the last time.
I'm going at a 4.25.
Okay.
A quarter of a rose.
Okay.
Maybe just the outer petals.
Okay.
We're not going for the innards on the 5th
Okay.
rose.
4.25 romance. Yeah. Okay.
Strip everything back if you look at it. 2 people fall in love. 3rd person intervenes. There's a power play that goes on within the whole situation. Could happen to your next door neighbor or a best friend of yours. So same exact situations. It got the 0.25 because I was reading some of the reviews that are like, this is not a romance. It didn't have a happily ever after.
Oh
well,
my
fuck, it did.
God.
It doesn't.
It actually had a great happy ever after because someone decided to make a decision. Because your life is about your decisions. Yeah, it was kind of like,
Who the fuck thought this didn't have a happy ending?
Somebody who wrote a review on Audible.
Oh my God. That fucking person does not have a brain on their shoulders. I mean, nobody has a brain on their shoulders.
No, hopefully they do. That may be a little awkward and weird. But I thought it was really strong, and the sense of soulmates and that understanding, and it was beautiful. It really was. It pulled at my heartstrings, and I think the last bit of the book did get me a little verge of crying. If it had got me all the way to full-blown tears, yeah, we could have gone up to a 5, but it was still beautiful and very well done. So 4.25 out of me.
Okay. All right. Lex, what do you think?
I'm a 4 for romance too.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's epic romance. It's going through lifetimes. Why is it not a 5? I don't know. For me, like when I read a book, if I'm still thinking about it 6 days later and like needing to run back to it, then that's what makes me jump up my reading. But like I kind of wasn't thinking about them after I put down the book. I couldn't get enough of it when I was reading it. But then when I put it down, I was like, okay, this completes nicely for me. Da-da, you know. And I guess the romance also for me was I did want him to end up with Calvin.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for breaking the cycle, not choosing anybody and just being with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different than a romance.
Right.
So,
Right. Shocking. I put this at a 3.5.
Okay.
I got my heart ripped out when
Dong, you fucked the book up for her.
He fucked it up. Well, no, actually, here, I want to rephrase. Dongxian did not fuck the book up. He fucked up the romance.
Gotcha.
Okay. There is a clear distinction here. I want to be very clear. Romance as a concept for me does not mean the book is good or bad. And he dramatized this category for me greatly. He destroyed the romance, but he did not destroy the book or the story. So that's why I'm going to tell you both that I think some of my ratings might be surprising and be like, well, if you're following along with my calculator here, you didn't actually do an average for the overall one.
Oh, I don't believe you have to do that. Yeah.
I will listen, that's what I would do.
Of course you would.
So,
and we love you anyway.
Yeah, thanks. So, story. I'm looking over at Lex.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
I'm going to 5 on the story.
Mm-hmm.
So well crafted,
Mm-hmm.
engaging. The little twists and turns, he had me the whole time. And, I don't normally sit there with a notebook while I'm reading, but I needed to for this, my little graph I made of like who's who. Got partway through and I had to cross it all out because I fucked up. But also just how beautifully he crafted each world, weaving in Chinese mythology. And I loved the part with the fox spirits.
Yeah,
and
that was very cool.
Oh, so good. Just loved it. Loved the story. I want him to write more.
Yeah.
Putting him on my watch list so that as he publishes more things, no matter where it is and what he's taking place and what he's writing about, I'm going to check it out because I know he's going to tell a fascinating story.
I got to agree with Lux all the way. 5 for me for story. Justinian was able to accomplish what a lot of authors try to do in such a flawless manner. He built 3 different worlds for you and tied them all together with 9 different main characters within it and all these little pieces. It was enjoyable. It had me engaged the entire time. It had my mind blown in the middle of the book, and then all these other little tidbits happening at the end. He had me vested within the characters. He did a really amazing job.
In terms of the story, yes, 5 all the way. For all the reasons that both of you just said. And I'm going to jump right in to just say that overall, I'm actually going to give this like 4.75 because despite the fact that I got my heart broken and maybe there could have been a little bit more smut, like overall, this book was fascinating, like absolutely fascinating. And yeah, it kept me riveted. So I kind of like surprised myself when I was thinking about all these different like rating scales that like, even though I might not have scored some of our other areas as high, overall, when you think about this book, I wanted to tell people about it when I saw people at dinner. I wanted to like share it with people so that they could understand like what I was reading, what I was getting into. And like, can't wait for people to hear this episode of the podcast so that more people can read it. Like, that's where I'm at. But I don't know. How about you, Joey?
4.5 all the way. It was beautiful. I am ultimately a gigantic romantic at heart. I did enjoy the love that was within the story, even though there was betrayal, because who doesn't like a little betrayal with their love and romance? It was just a really amazing book. It had my heart beating. It was well done, greatly enjoyable. 4.5 from me.
4.5 from me. I hate to say it. I'm just saying the same thing. Like, it's just so beautifully written. Loved it. I was invested in these characters. The surprises along the way, wonderful. I loved the view into worlds that I don't often get to see. It's funny, Chinese historical romance, like I've watched a lot of those, so that was actually more familiar to me than the gay rave. But just the journey that we went on with these characters, I loved it. And again, just shoved it into my brain as quick as I could and, read it in 2 days, telling my partner, go away. No, I don't want to watch anything right now. I want to finish this book.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I didn't do it as a 5 is I'm not clamoring to read it again.
Sure.
And maybe just because it's so dense, it's going to take some time for me to like process it and then come back to it and then give it another read.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely recommend it to anybody who's like, hey, have you heard of this? Yeah, read it. Read it now.
Yeah. It's funny now that you put it that way. The thing that would make me rate it a 5 is if I wanted to read it again. I'm like, oh, shit, I do want to read it again, actually. Should I be giving it a 5? Wow. I don't know. I mean, okay, so
I said read it again immediately.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Not that I would wish upon us all another pandemic, but it was a pandemic that allowed Justinian to have this freedom of brain space to write this book. So not that I want another one, but Justinian, whatever it fucking takes. Do we have to invent another crazy virus to have you go into a hole for 2 years to come out with another book for us? Thank you.
I will definitely read whatever else he puts out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, folks, if you read the book, I am just dying to know what you think. Drop us a line in the social medias, or heck, for you old-fashioned dames, y'all can send us a good old-fashioned email. Isn't that just charming? Oh, you can send us an email. That's cute. If you liked what you heard today, please rate us, follow us, subscribe to us. If you didn't like what you heard, go drink another cocktail and give it a second listen. Thanks. Well, folks, there's only one way that we can end this, really. There's only one word that comes to mind, and it's not bye-bye now. Peaches! Millions of peaches. Peaches for me. Millions of peaches. Peaches for free.
Dork.